Is good, everybody out there? Thanks again for checking into another episode of Controll, the channel where we basically talk basketball. Recently, I put out a poll to you guys to see what you would be interested in seeing my next reaction on. I came back and wanted to see up-and-coming rookies. Now, this guy's technically not a rookie yet, but I really do think that he's going to be next year's first-round pick. The little bits and pieces that I've seen of him, it's been absolutely amazing, and he's absolute unicorns. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about none other than Victor Wembanyama. Now, Victor came onto my radar when I saw a video a little while ago, actually, of him playing one-on-one against Rudy Gobert and dropping buckets. Obviously, it's a pretty casual game of one-on-one, but it goes to show the sort of difference in game that he has to a traditional big man just in that little clip alone. This video that we're going to be reacting to is from the NBA G League, and it's like the title goes to show the level of domination that this man's going to potentially have in the league next year. He's dropping 37 points, 37 points against the G League team. Now make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see my detailed analysis of the highlights that we're about to watch, but let's get straight into the video. Alright guys, let's check out the G League's video. Let's do it. Big recovery there. Using that body. That's where it does help if when you're 7'3". He's got handles. Oof. Good snatch with the spin. I like that. See how deep he was sitting in recovery? Yeah, that's too easy, brother. Man, how deflated would you be having to D this man? Look at the man marking him. He's at his shoulder. And he can spray, bro. He's agile too. I like that. Good slip. Ooh. Yeah. Yo. Goaltending.
Your famous father wasn't in support of you. I should say in support. He wasn't a fan of
popping out. Look at that. Look at that. They left him all the way out there. That's how unconventional this man's game is. People aren't prepared for a big man to pop out like that. Hey, yo! Damn, bro. Bang! Getting down, sort of in that trial spot. Oof. This man dropping daggers, bro. You got to pick up. You have to pick up on this defensively, knowing that this man wants to shoot. Active, got to keep him active. E. Bro, this guy's got a gap, man.
But he's not a guy that's going to really be able to dominate with his back.
Yay!
Because he doesn't have a strong base. So Wembanyama's calling for it on the block against Abakiri. Turns, faces, hangs.
Oof. He's got good control, because you can see that he could take that bump and could rock it. Look at that, man. He almost used the screen as a way to slip and drag the other defender out. Damn, bro. Damn, bro.
But that is advantage Victor coming up with the block shot. Scoot has been great attacking the.
Oh. Hey, look, I ain't gonna lie. I'm surprised. I know he got his hand to the ball, but his elbow also copped that man in the face. He's a proper shooter too. Look at his footwork. Notice his footwork. Yeah. Bro, what are you gonna do? You got to move him. You got to move him. You can't just like try and quick release like that. You got to move him first.
Waters finds the big man. Calmly knocks down another.
You can't stay seated like that.
7 threes, 37 points.
Okay, guys, as always, I gotta give you that detailed analysis. Let's get straight into it. The first thing that I wanted to comment to is his shooting base. Traditionally, when you see good quality shooters, you can actually notice that they're very, very well on balance. Perfect example of that is if you look at Steph Curry's feet. Irrespective of whether or not he's moving into a shot, so he's gathering 1-2, or he's hopping into a shot, or even he's going from a dribbling action into a shot, you can always notice that they're very well on balance, and a lot of this comes from their shooting base. Now, the advantage to being Victor's height, let's just call it 7'4", that most defenders are not used to, is the difference in their shooter's pocket as well as their set point for their shot. Now, I covered the shooter's pocket and set point in great detail in the CT's Classroom series for 1-motion versus 2-motion shooting. So if you want to know more information about this, please make sure you go ahead and check it out. But when you look at really good shooters, and you can use Kevin Durant as an example, you can use Steph Curry as an example, Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, these guys are able to adjust their shooter's pocket. They're able to get it to their chest and initiate their shot because their shot is fluid. And normally for me, when I'm looking at a shooter and I'm trying to understand whether or not it's a matter of lucky buckets or skill, and they're actually intending and they're comfortable with hitting these shots, I normally look at two things. I look at the motion of their shot, so the fluidity of their shot, and the most important thing that I look at is their base. Are they on balance? You can try and correct your shot with your motion, but if your balance is off, it's like the foundation of a house. It's eventually going to come crumbling down. It might be fine for a while, but eventually it's going to come crumbling down, and it's normally in the case with tired legs. Now, as a defender, trying to adjust to the difference in shooter's pocket and set point for someone who's 7'4" is tremendously difficult. You could see the defenders were having a lot of difficulty with that, but also you could see that they weren't anticipating to get out into that distance. Okay, they weren't comfortable with getting out into the 3 and seeing someone be prepared to try and move them with the ball, whether they were trying to shake them off the dribble or whether or not they were able to sort of get into these triple threat positions and actively be a shooting and scoring threat from that far out. Noticing on his base, I also would have to say that it was really impressive to see that he was able to get into his base from varying positions, whether he was moving or whether he was still. And movement is actually the next point that I wanted to talk about. Now, movement is the next point, and I'm going to cover it in two different ways. I'm going to talk about going into shots, and I'm going to talk about into space. Starting off with into shots, if you actually notice the way that his body is moving and transitioning into shots, he's actually got a really good change in height. Okay, when you see that people are able to effectively utilize their head fakes or hezzies, a lot of the time it's by being able to shift their height. A perfect example, if you want to see someone do this to the highest detail, okay, check out my video on Kelsey Plum. She does a fantastic job at this. But shifting your height really makes it difficult for a defender to try and react to what you're going to do. When you look at guys like Kyrie Irving, when he goes into a hezzy, he'll lift up, but it's also the fact that he's dropping his hips and lifting up. And this sort of movement sets off the trigger defensively that, oh, he's going to shoot, and they bite. Smart defenders, smart guard defenders are generally able to react to these things pretty well and anticipate that this is happening and can kind of pick up on it after a little moment, or if they've been paying attention to the player and they know that they're going to use it, they're prepared for it. But when someone is 7'4" and primarily playing in the big spots, then you're not normally ready for it. And so it's just really impressive to see his level of movement in shifting his height and his overall movement into shots. Like, it was exceptionally fluid. I mentioned just a moment ago that I was really impressed with his shooting base, but even his footwork getting into his shot was really, really nice. It was absolutely beautiful. The next thing that I want to talk about is his movement into space. I noticed that when he was going into screens, he wasn't always slipping. He was popping out quite a substantial amount. And he was very, very smart in being able to get into space and face the ball. It's always important that when you're moving, you should always be facing the ball. It's a little bit of a tricky situation when you're moving from a screen and popping out to get open, because normally people have this moment of not looking at the ball, but if you notice, he actually does a pretty good job in being able to face the ball. But I also noticed that when the ball did come out to him, how his feet were moving and how his overall body was moving. A big aspect of him being able to get these shots was a lot of the time due to the fact that people just weren't prepared for someone that big to shoot. They probably weren't that familiar with him as a player and really weren't expecting someone that big to be shooting so comfortably and moving that far out. So he really took advantage of it. There's a reason why he got 37 points, but it was also because of the fact that he was able to capitalize on that space and recognize what is happening around him. When you're moving into space, it's not just about seeing a little window of opportunity and getting into it, but it's recognizing that if I get into that window of opportunity and the ball comes, what can I do with it? Can I head fake and drive? Can I fake a pass? Can I hockey assist and move? It's all of these things. And his movement into space was actually really quite impressive. Additionally, also on the defensive end, when you think about how he was moving into space to be able to recover, it allowed him to take full advantage of that giant wingspan that this man's got. Being in that position and being able to recover really well is fantastic, and having that height is an absolute advantage, but being in the right space and being able to recover really well and have really good control of your body not to foul someone. I mean, I do think that there was a foul in the highlight. You can see that he's able to move in and out of space offensively and defensively exceptionally well. Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk about is ball control. First clip that it starts off in this video is this man like, yeah, come get it, and then immediately going into sort of a dribbling action. And you can see the defender's like, oh, what do I do? All right? And I absolutely love that, because you should be testing them. You have the ball. You are in the driver's seat. You have the weapon. And primarily, people aren't trying to take advantage of catching people off guard. They're looking to try and mosey into this dribbling action and then spam dribble and then try and get around them. And I mentioned in the last video where I did a reaction to Luka Doncic that it's all about how you use your space, knowing when to be fast and knowing when to be slow, and capitalizing on the expectation that they think you're going to be slow and quickly moving to get them to react and be caught off guard is a really, really smart tactic. But his ball control doesn't just go from that little moment in the dribbling action. If you notice how he's controlling the ball in his dribble, he's got a really good control of it. A lot of the time when you see people comfortably control the ball, you normally will see that they have their hand in this sort of back rear pocket, and it's able to push the ball, they're able to swoop the ball under, they're able to really manipulate the ball. Okay, if you want to be a really good ball handler, it's about moving the ball in different positions from different positions, being able to have it here and move it all the way across your body. He looks like he's got a pretty tight handle in the sense of could absolutely be worked on, I'm sure. His ball control is absolutely comfortable from a position that he is normally in. Additionally, one of the things that I noticed as well is that his ball control when he's in a shooting action was actually really impressive as well. When you look at guys like Kai Soto, I commented that I thought that it was really impressive that he was able to have control in being able to adjust his shot. And it's really cool to see a guy like Victor take that into play as well, because of the fact that there was an opportunity where he was going up to score, there was a little bit of a bump, and he's able to sort of control and manipulate the ball. Now, he's obviously quite large, so you would assume that his hand is going to be equally as large, which gives him that extra aspect of control. But the control and feasibility in being able to absorb some of the contact and then readjust your shot is actually really, really good. If you look at old clips of Michael Jordan used to do this thing where he would jump and sort of rock the ball a little bit. What that did is it enabled him to absorb a lot of the contact and throw off the shooting action. People aren't really able to anticipate what is happening if you can't anticipate the action. If you don't really know when you're releasing it, but you're releasing it at the best point, in that sort of action, it's really difficult to adjust. Obviously, you want to keep your shot consistent when you're in a normal shooting motion, but when you're looking at that type of contact initiation and then there's this adjustment, it was really, really impressive. There was actually one moment where I thought this man's going to try and shoot over the backboard, but he didn't do it. Overall, guys, I have to say I'm really, really impressed with this guy's game, and I absolutely am going to be paying special close attention to him. I'm absolutely really eager to see some more clips of this man, so I'm absolutely going to be paying very, very close attention. You should also be paying close attention. Close attention to what your boy is doing, and the best way you can do that is by giving me some love and support by liking and subscribing. I mentioned in my last video that demonetization happens, and it happens, you'd be surprised at how much it happens, and I really do enjoy putting these videos together for you guys, but it would absolutely mean the most if I can get your love and support by likes and subscribes, especially now as I'm pushing to hit my new goal of 10K subs. Additionally, if you want to get in contact with me, you can do that by checking out my contact details at the end of the video, or you can also go ahead and check out my Facebook page. But look, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for kicking it with your boy, and until I see you next time, make sure you are looking after yourself, you take care, and be safe. All right, peace.